profile of the atmosphere. Okay? So ultimately this has impacted the monsoon. Especially you should mention here, this has led to global warming. And what is the impact we expect of global warming? That both the amount of rainfall in the monsoon would increase, but along with this increase in amount of rainfall, the variability in the monsoon rainfall would also increase. Okay? So that is again one thing. Regional modifications in the atmosphere has also led to changes in factors like cloudiness, okay, and rainfall. Okay? So it also, regional modifications in the atmosphere, it also has impact on the spatial distribution of rainfall in the monsoon period. Okay? So when you are talking about atmosphere, focus on both the aspects, the global aspects as well as the regional modifications. Okay? Then you talk about other aspects. Second most important aspect, if I have to identify, definitely it is biosphere. So what we have done, we have cleared the forest. Clearing of this forest, what it has done, it has led to definitely, because forest, if you talk about, trees are rain magnets. Okay? Due to which ultimately what would happen, there would be decline in the rainfall. Okay? So this decline in the rainfall, this has led to regional declines in the rainfall. So again, spatial distribution in the monsoon has been affected. Okay? This also you focus upon. Then one thing that people would generally forget would be role of land. So what humans have also done, they have modified the topography. This modification of topography, if you talk about, has been most important in the large cities of India. Okay? So there what we have done, we have created several high-rise buildings. These high-rise buildings, again what they are doing is, they are behaving as a type of topographic barriers. Now ultimately because of that, what would happen? Amount of rainfalls would increase, particularly in the coastal cities of India. In coastal cities of India, what would happen? Because of these kind of long barriers or tall barriers, they would be behaving as some kind of relief features, obstructing the flow of winds. Okay? So again, because of that, what would happen? There would be increase in the rainfall. So in these large coastal cities, again what has happened? Increase in rainfall has taken place. Type of photography, it is definitely, because you know that for rainfall, most important phenomena that should be there is rise of air. Okay? So this rise of air can be due to various causes. One is, it can be facilitated by relief features. So in these type of areas, what has happened? Artificial relief features have been created. So they can also increase the amount of rainfall. So again, that is, we can write about this.
But the height will be significantly different.
Significantly different होगा. But what we are saying is, because of that also, amount of rainfall in that area would increase. Ideally, जितना पहले rainfall होता था, उससे ज़्यादा होगा. If you are creating very tall buildings, ultimately what would happen? They are facilitating the upliftment of winds. Always remember that if you talk about winds, they require just one initial push. If they are very, very humid, what would happen? Even with one initial push, they can become very unstable. And if they become unstable, they would continue to rise upwards. Okay? So it is characteristic of humid winds. So even this kind of a little bit of trigger can create more rainfall. Okay. So like this, ultimately you should be approaching this question. You should be talking about these factors which are due to humanization of landscape, it has changed. Now, when you are talking about this humanizing of landscape, in the conclusion you can again give suggestions. Two types of suggestions you should be talking about. First, you can just say that these modifications, if you talk about, they should be controlled. Otherwise, again, problem will increase. Second is, we should also focus upon adaptation. Okay? Both type of suggestions could be given. Next is, smart cities in India cannot sustain without smart villages. Discuss this statement in the backdrop of rural-urban integration. Rural-urban integration. So again, if you talk about urbanization in India, how much urbanization is there in India according to 2011 census? It is 31 point something, 31.18%. Okay. So this much is the urbanization. That means rest of the people where they are living in rural areas. Now again, in such type of question, what I will do, I will first identify the context. So again, the context is smart cities. What is the context of smart cities? Urban problems or rising urban problems. So again, when I am writing my introduction, very good introduction can be those rising urban problems. They have led to origin of this idea of smart city, even in India. Now, but in the background, what is happening? We are forgetting about our villages. Okay, they should also be focused upon, because if we talk about most of these urban problems, why they are arising? Because the rural-urban migration, or because of the migration that is very, very dominant. The migration increases the capacity of these urban centers. Okay, na? You might have read that if you talk about this migration of India or this urbanization of India, one very important aspect of urbanization in India is that it is dual in nature. Dual in nature means that if you talk about class 1 cities, they are increasing in size, while other classes of cities, they are decreasing in size. Okay? Mainly because, why? What is the reason? Because we talked about that step migration is not taking place in India. Okay? So again, because of that, ultimately what is happening? These problems are arising. That means if we do not deal with the rural issue, or if we do not make these rural settlements smart areas to live, this migration cannot be tackled. That means whatever type of smart cities we make, they won't be able to remain smart. Okay? Thus, for them to remain smart, what should happen? The entire settlement system of India should become smart. And definitely, part of or the lowest hierarchy is formed by your rural settlement, which still account for about 68% of the population. Okay? So this is the context in which the answer should be written. So you summarize this, what we have said, and then you come to the main content. So main content is asking that discuss this statement in the backdrop of rural-urban integration. Okay? So again, we have shown in our first introduction, we have shown that how rural areas are very, very important. So you talk about how this integration is very important to maintain the smartness of both the settlements. So you talk about integration at various levels. Okay? First, very, very important, you just remember, for writing this, you should remember the key features of smart cities. Those key features of smart cities can again be applied to rural settlements. And if we talk about these key features of smart cities, one very, very important key features of smart cities are that these are competitive. So competitive here means they are able to provide employment to their population, as well as they are able to attract investment. Okay? Both these things are there in sustainable cities. So again, when we are talking about sustainable rural settlements, they should also be doing these same functions: employment opportunities creation as well as attraction of investment. Okay? So again, this can happen how? You can again stress here about your Manrega scheme, NRLM. They would have special role in providing these employment opportunities. Okay? Also, all those Gram Yojana, you can talk about attraction of investment. For example, if you talk about investment, recent scheme of government, it allows FDI in retail. Okay? So again, what it is doing, it is definitely allowing investment in these rural areas. Okay? So that is very, very important aspect of them being competitive. Okay? In fact, here competitiveness would also emerge it will lead to development of here rural centers. If we develop rural centers in these areas, okay, rural market centers these are called, if they are properly developed, what would happen? They would be facilitating this kind of investment, more investment opportunities, more employment opportunities. Okay, so this link has to be strengthened with the urban centers because they are linked with the urban centers. Okay, so first thing you talk about. Then second important thing aspect is definitely related with the livability. And if we talk about this livability, again, what is very, very important aspect is increasing the infrastructure. Increasing the infrastructure. So in terms of rural areas, this increase in infrastructure would take various forms. That is enhancement of irrigation infrastructure, betterment of housing infrastructure, as well as the sanitation programs. Okay? All those you write about. So again, infrastructure should be increased, including provision of, for example, these rural centers can be used for to provide your health infrastructure, educational opportunities. Okay? So again, you talk about that. Then another important aspect is the connectedness with the urban centers. So for that, what is very, very important is transportation infrastructure should be improved. Okay? So you again talk about that, and government is trying to do that. Then you should also talk about other digital connectivity. You should also be talking about the use of ICT. Okay? So when you are talking about, you should focus upon this interconnectedness because it should be connected with this, with transport infrastructure, with ICT, with these centers. They should be forming important connection between the rural side or rural areas and the urban centers. Okay? Also, when you are talking about this interconnectedness, one very, very important aspect is the political interconnectedness. You should be also focusing upon that. So again, what should happen? The Panchayati Raj institutions should become the link between the urban polity and the rural polity. Okay? So again, that means Panchayati Raj institutions should have significant role in policy making as well as their implementation. Okay?
So that came in the context of rural urban mission, right now.
Definitely. But then question number 20, what are the economic significances of discovery of oil in the Arctic Sea and its possible environmental consequences? This was fairly easy. Again, important aspect is you focus on environmental consequences. Sometimes I read many of the questions which students write, and even if it is asking environmental consequences, what they will do, they will talk about all types of consequences, political consequences, other types of consequences as well. Here you should be focusing upon environmental consequences. For example, even if you are talking about political consequences, for example, it can lead to conflict between nations. Okay, so instead of just writing that it would lead to conflict between nations, you further expand your statement. This conflict can lead to war, which would be harmful for the environment of the region. Okay? So if you want to write that, you just expand that. Okay? So again, in the first part, you should be focusing upon what type of economic significances or discovery of oil in Arctic Sea has taken place. So if you talk about USGS, according to it, about 22% of the these conventional energy resources, they are lying in this Arctic Ocean. Okay? So in a way, when I answer my believe they are like a last frontier of hydrocarbons for the human beings. Okay? So again, what is happening? You talk about these factual figures. More if you talk about these resources, थोड़ा सा because there is geographical answer, so उसमें थोड़ा सा locational aspect भी include कर लो. For example, if we talk about maximum of these resources, or about 30% of these resources are concentrated near the Alaskan region. Okay? But other areas also, for example, the Norwegian Sea region, that Russian, that Siberia part, it also has significant amount of hydrocarbon. Okay? So you talk about this hydrocarbon. Now if we talk about this hydrocarbon, how it would be economically useful, because in the first part we have to also talk about how it would be economically useful. Okay. Now if we talk about economic use, first very important thing, एक और चीज बता देता हूँ before I continue. When we are talking about these oil resources, along with oil resources we are also finding here other hydrocarbons. For example, we are finding methane hydrates. Okay. So these methane hydrates are also important these fuel resources that we are getting here. Now if we talk about the use of this, it is expected that these Arctic resources that are there, they would be extending the life of the use of hydrocarbons that are as an energy resource. Okay. So if we are able to exploit it, ultimately we believe that up till 2035 oil would be very important source of energy. It would still be important source of energy. After that there would be dominance of gas. Okay. But if we are able to definitely exploit these oil resources, then at least by 10 to 15 years this period will increase. Okay. So again what is happening, that is very important consequence, economic consequence. So you talk about that economic consequence, then you come to the possible environmental consequences. Okay. And here you can think about number of possible environmental consequences. For example, there would be real threat of oil spills, very important, and these oil spills are very difficult to clear, especially in these type of seas. For example, if you talk about Arctic, you might be knowing that if you talk about your world, this is your Greenland. Now ultimately your currents are moving here like this. So this Arctic is isolated from the oceanic circulation. Okay? And because of that, clearing of this oil spill would be much more difficult than in